Okay, so you've looked at the September schedules then.
Right.
And so which teams does it benefit and which teams maybe does it hurt so far from
Yeah, okay.
your eyes?
I mean, right off the bat, I think a team that I just looked at and said not a bad opening schedule, and let me just pull it up just to make sure I got it right, but the New England Patriots were the first team. I know they got the Pittsburgh Steelers week 1. That's brutal, certainly. But, you know, after that, they get to play 3 teams, really 4, 5, 6 teams in a row that I can legitimately sit here and go, no, they're better. I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but they're better. They have the Miami Dolphins, the Jets, the Buffalo Bills, the Washington Redskins, the New York Giants, and then the Jets again. So I look at that and go, ooh, New England's poised to be in a very much of a power position you know, after the first 6, 7 weeks of the season. And they have some other stretches that are going to be tough. If you're looking on YouTube right now, you know, weeks 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, which is Ravens, at Eagles, Cowboys, Texans, Chiefs, will be one of the bigger tests for the New England Patriots. But I think they're going to be set up in a good position to, if they flounder a game or 2 there, it's not going to ruin their season. So I always start off by going, let me look at the Patriots schedule, because that's where the talk of the NFL is. I always go there. Now,
there's one team.
Right.
Let me throw this one.
Yeah,
at you.
please do.
A team that hasn't been in the playoffs, I think, 2 years in a row now, right? Packers. We haven't seen Aaron Rodgers. And I think that's a huge bummer for everyone not to have Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. You look at their early season schedule, a little troubling.
A little troubling.
You get Bears, Vikings. You're at Bears. You're home against the Vikings. You're home against the Denver Broncos. You're taking on the Eagles. You're at Dallas after that.
Yes.
Then you get the automatic win of the Detroit Lions. But
I don't know about that. But yes, no. I mean, I know. I'm with you. That it is. I mean, this is going to be a tough start for Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur, the whole group of guys there. You mentioned on the road against Chicago. I mean, come on. Let's. Chicago's one of the most talented teams in the sport. Then you got the Minnesota Vikings, which we know is already one of the most talented defenses in football. You get the Broncos, Vic Fangio, who came from the Bears, who knows all about Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. That's going to be scary. Plus, they have talent on their team, and it's going to be a good defense. And you can talk about, like you said, Eagles and Cowboys. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to make some magic early on in the season. Certainly jumped out to me. You know, you want to talk about another team who's got a tough early schedule, Ahmed, would be the New Orleans Saints. That's one I look at and go, holy hell, Batman. I mean, they got... Okay, Texans to start the year at home. Okay, that's great. But the Texans are a playoff football team. Tough, physical. It's Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney, DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, come on. We know they're capable of winning some games. But then they go at the Los Angeles Rams for the NFC Championship, you know, rematch. Then they got to stay out of the West Coast and play the Seattle Seahawks. And then they come home and play the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night. I mean, that will be some stretch, and I think really is going to set up the Saints, whether they're going to be a fringe playoff team, a team that can, you know, have a first-round bye, or a team that's going to be fighting for that wild card spot. They go 2-2. Yeah, you know, it's going to be tough sledding, but at least they're in a good spot.
In years past, I would say it's not the worst thing ever if you're the New Orleans Saints led by Drew Brees and you're 1-3. You can dig yourself out of the hole. Like if you have a quarterback that you believe in, you can dig yourself out of a hole. Although I do know from talking to you in the past few weeks, I don't think you're as sold on Drew Brees being that guy, that elite quarterback that can dig a team out of a hole.
No, I think the day and age of Drew Brees being able to carry a team, you know, just with his ability and decision-making and pinpoint accuracy and it all being on him, I do. I think those days are done. And that doesn't mean that the Saints can't still win football games, but I think we saw last year it was a little bit of a transition of how they played. They were definitely a run-first team, Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara, and I think they're going to continue to do that. They got a really good offensive line. But, yeah, I don't think that he is – I certainly would question that to a degree out of the fact that, man – that's been 2 heartbreaking seasons, the way they've ended. Minneapolis Miracle, and then, of course, last year the debacle in the NFC Championship game, to where that is a lot to overcome. And, you know, it's tough to, you know, restart the engine once again and have a chip on your shoulder and just we're going for the Super Bowl and all of that after you had 2 big letdowns like that. So I'm going to be very interested to see how they start out the year.
Let me throw a team.
Yeah, please throw them out. Go ahead.
The team that the Saints play week 1 is Houston, the Houston Texans. I think a lot of people, I mean, it'd be cool to see them make a run. Deshaun Watson, a lot of things that we like about them. DeAndre Hopkins as well.
I love them.
So it'd be nice to see them make a run, but offensively, it's going to be a tough go for them the first few weeks. So they got got the Saints.
Yeah.
Then they get the Jaguars at home.
Yeah.
Then you're at the Chargers. And then you're home against Carolina.
Yep.
Then you're home against the Falcons. And then you're at the Chiefs. I mean,
and then you're at the Colts, right?
So for Houston, that could be a tough go early.
Can be a really tough go early, and they got off to a horrible start last year and somehow managed to sneak into the playoffs. So yeah, that is not going to be easy. I mean, playing in New Orleans, just in my experience, New Orleans certainly ranks up there as far as one of the toughest places to play when they are good and the crowd is really rolling, which they will be on week 1. So that's scary. The Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, everybody watch out for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I still think this is one of the most talented teams in football. The defense, they don't need one player. They're good. And they're going to be one of the best defenses in football. But, getting Nick Foles, having a high draft pick, what do? I would think it goes somewhere on the offensive side of the ball to where I think Jacksonville is going to be a lot closer to the team we saw in the AFC Championship game and have a bounce-back year. So to your point there, that won't be easy. And then, of course, the Chargers, the Panthers are a team I look at as bounce-back. And the Falcons and Chiefs we know are dangerous as well. I mean, the AFC South is that's a tough division. It really is. When you talk about the Titans, Colts, Jags, and Texans, that's 4 quality football teams. All have pretty good quarterbacks. So that's not a bad one either. I know there's another one. My buddy Kyle Shanahan, I'm worried about him, okay?
Oh.
He's my friend, all right, and I'm rooting for them. But it's a big year. It's year 3. Jimmy Garoppolo's got to perform. My man Kyle Shanahan, they got to have a good record at some point just to take the pressure off. They start off on the road twice, okay?
Yeah.
At the Bucs, at the Bengals, both East Coast teams,
That's
okay?
always tough.
That's right. And they're not good. Teams. I know the Bucs and Bengals, we're not talking about Super Bowl, but here's the angle that everyone's got to remember. It's 2 starting head coaches, new head coaches. So the team, the fan base is going to be energized, right? And, they're both home openers. The Bucs are getting a home opener and getting the 49ers. The next week is a home opener for the Bengals, who have the 49ers. But then after that, it just doesn't get any easier. It's Steelers. They get to go home for their home opener. Oh, great. You got Big Ben and company coming to town. So that's not good. You got the Browns coming to town the week after that, which I know we all know are going to be dangerous. Mm-hmm. And then it's at the Los Angeles Rams. So I look at that as going, wow, that's a tough schedule. And I'll throw in one other team there that I think I just would say, watch out for this schedule, the New York Jets. The New York Jets, Bills and Browns to start the year, okay? Which I know these are 2 teams that I would say watch out for, the Bills and Browns. Yep. But then they're at the Pats, they're at the Eagles, they got the Cowboys, and then they play the Patriots again. So they got to play the Patriots 2 out of their first 6 games. That's never a good formula. But let alone you got the Eagles and the Cowboys, who are both playoff teams, and the upstart Browns and the Bills, who are a good football team, and I think really on a sharp trajectory going upward. So, yeah, the start of the year frames so much, and those are just a few teams that the schedule jumped out to me.
Yeah, because it does. It feels like when you're 1-3, 1-4,
you're almost done.
You have to have things go perfect. You have to have the talent. You have to not really be a 1-4 team.
Right.
Because sometimes you just are. Right.
Yes,
sometimes you're like, what a bad start. But actually, you're just a 1-4 team.
Right.
It's not a bad start. That's what you are.
Yep.
But if you did have a bad start and you do have the talent, then you still need things to go your way because, as we've seen many times, it's just, one fumble here or there, one bad call, New Orleans Saints.
Yes, exactly right.
Let me throw a couple more things your way here just to kind of little quirks of the schedule that we wrote about and our team wrote about on NBCSports.com. Yep. The Chargers have a 6-week gap between home games. They do play at home in Mexico City against the Chiefs. But does that change the challenge of doing that? I think the Raiders have a long stretch away from Oakland.
They do. I think
it's
6 weeks as well. The Buccaneers, I think, are in that conversation as well.
Does that change your thoughts on the Chargers and them having to play away from home for that long?
Yes, it does. Those are as an ex-player or a guy that played in the NFL, those are the stretches that you're looking at when the schedule comes out. You're going, okay, who are we playing in week 1? What are our primetime games? Those are the first things as a player you look at.
Yeah.
The next thing is, all right, who are our first few games against? And then do we have any murderer's row stretches of just unbelievable teams that we have to play in a row, or travel schedule? Travel schedule can wear you out in the NFL, and I know it sounds minute maybe to some teams, but think about it this way. You play a Sunday night game or a late Saturday game. You're on the West, or Sunday afternoon game. You're on the West Coast. You get home. It's, okay, gosh, I get in the house. It's 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. It's get up the next morning, go to the facility, start the week going. The coaches are, they're tired. All of those things, the travel, being away from home, all of that affects your season altogether, especially when you get Sunday night and Monday night football games, because then it's no rest of the weary. And I said this today on Pro Football Talk. The coaches are the ones who really get killed in those stretches. You play a Monday night game, and as a coach in the NFL, okay, the game's over, go home for a few hours and sleep. But tomorrow, man, we got to cram in Monday and Tuesday into Tuesday, okay, and get ready for our next opponent. So that's not easy. Or if you're on a road trip, Monday Night Football, and you land back, and let's say, you're whoever it is, Monday Night Football, you're the New England Patriots, you land back in Foxborough, and it's 5 in the morning. The coaches just get off the plane and go right to the office. And that wears you out, and that affects game planning, and it affects the players and all of that. So those are all
things you look at. Then they're grouchier, and they're tougher on the players, and then that makes the players angry.
More miserable, too.
Anyone.
Exactly right.
Speaking of the Patriots, they have all those primetime games. They're on TV a lot. This was on Pro Football Talk as well. The Lions have 12 more days of rest than their opponents over the course of the season, while the Patriots have an NFL worst 13 fewer days of rest than their opponents. The reason is because the Lions never play an opponent coming off a bye, while the Patriots play 3 games against opponents coming off a bye. So that's an advantage Lions, disadvantage Patriots.
I mean, to a degree, I think at face value it looks this way, but I would say this. Most teams are famous for not being good at playing off their bye week. The bye week can really be a bad thing in my experience in the NFL. I was on a 6-0 football team that went into the bye week, and we never won a freaking game like the next 7 weeks in a row after that. Because you go home, you take the foot off the gas pedal, the coaches relax a little bit, there's a little attention to detail lost. Guys go, I'm going to eat a little more this week, I don't have to play, I'm going to work out a little less and let my body recover.
You get out of your routine.
You get out of your routine, and you get out of some of your... you get a little sloppy with techniques. I mean, I always felt like the offensive linemen's pads were high when we came out of a bye week. Like, staying low and driving off the ball. Little things like that to affect your team. So, I know that doesn't look good, and people are going to have the advantage as far as preparing for the New England Patriots. But the bye week also can be one of those things where teams are, hey, we talk about Andy Reid being great off the bye week for a reason, because he's one of the few coaches in football that has consistently proven that he can handle that week and the team can still be good the next week. Most teams, if you look at it, it's not that, overwhelmingly beautiful as far as the results after the bye week.
Last one for me. The Ravens and their schedule. They perfectly alternate road and home games all season long.
Ravens were one of the teams I almost brought up, and that's amazing. Okay, that's a great thing.
The first time, or it hasn't happened in a while. I don't know exactly when. 3 times previously.
So that's
1978.
Always a positive. And the Ravens are one of those teams I looked at to go, they have a favorable start of the season. They get to play the Dolphins and the Cardinals, who are both in kind of rebuild mode. And the Ravens are a team that is set up to be physical, and they're still a really good football team. Hey, whether they're in the playoffs, I don't know, but I think they're going to be in that conversation because they're talented on offense and defensive line. Lamar Jackson, the whole Ravens defense is good. So, I would think they're going to be one of those teams that's in the mix all along.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.